Hi everyone, I am back again building another house in The Sims 4. Today we're building in, I can never pronounce it, is it Mount Komorabi? Komabi? I have no idea how to pronounce it, but it's that mountain that's based in the Japan world of The Sims 4, where you can go like skiing, where you can do snowboarding, rock climbing, and it's actually a really fun world to play in. I'm building this on the 50 by 50 lot, which is at the it's kind of by the lake. The lake's quite cool because you can actually go swimming in the lake, which is next to the lot, which is a nice feature. I originally wanted to build a lot on the 50 by 50 lot that's in the snowy area of the map, but unfortunately if you build on the snowy part, you can't remove the snow ever, so it's quite hard to tell what you're actually building. And I don't know, it was cool, but it just, I'd rather not always have to play in the snow. Like I like seasons where you've got the option. So that's why I built it on this lot. Originally the house on this lot was actually quite nice before anyway, but I just figured I wanted to build my own lot. So, and I wanted to try doing like a split level house, but like with Japanese theming. It's not 100% authentic to Japanese styling. For example, in a Japanese house, the toilets often tend to have like a cubicle for the actual toilet and then the sink and bathroom separate. That doesn't happen in this house. And the reason I didn't do it is because in real life it might look alright, but in The Sims it just looks quite pokey and tight, and I don't know, it's just not how I wanted it. So you've got regular sized bathrooms, but yeah, I've got quite a lot of space. I think this house ends up being 5 bedrooms, but there's also like a guest house which has a bedroom in it. But it ends up being quite a nice lot. Obviously you can see quite extensive terrain tools being used, and it basically ends up being that the right side of the lot is 2 levels, the middle of the lot is 3 levels, and the left side of the lot is 2 levels. But it's kind of like cascades down the side of the hill. Obviously the hill doesn't exist, I've built the hill, but the way I've kind of done the terrain tools, and you can see like that retaining wall all the way around the perimeter of the right hand side of the lot, if you're looking directly at it, that kind of makes it look a bit more natural, a bit more realistic. It's not like just a random hill's appeared, it actually looks like there's some thought gone behind the kind of terrain tools and where they've been used. Yeah, it was a lot of fun actually building this house. Furnishing it, the furniture of the house is quite bland, quite boring if I'm honest. The main reason for that is because this is basically another rental home. Like it's uploaded to the lot as a residential house, so you could place it anywhere. And I have actually placed it in a few different locations. And the reason I had to save a lot and place it somewhere else is because when I uploaded it to gallery, if you upload the house on this particular lot to the gallery, the very first photo that you see on the gallery is basically of the back of a tree, because there's a bit of a bug when you upload houses from this lot. So I actually moved the lot to Oasis Springs just for the gallery purpose, but in general, like this house is meant to be played with in the new town of Mount Korabi or Komorabi or whatever it's called. But the only thing that happened when I did move the lot was I think 2 staircases get deleted, but they're only minor, like you can just place them back. But in general, like the lot's pretty much okay. Like there's nothing else to be said really in that regards. Nothing else gets deleted. I would recommend having move object on when you place it, because there is quite a lot of move objects in this lot. But other than that, it's pretty much golden. One thing I wanted to add as well is I like these towers on these kind of Japanese themed homes. I'm not really sure why, and I'm not really sure if it's a feature that all Japan houses would have. But I just figured if you're building the biggest house in the town, you might as well go all out. What I also noticed about Japanese houses, and this isn't like a criticism of the style, but they don't look quite as luxurious, but they're quite minimalist. But they do have they have an elegance to them, but it's not in the sense of like marble floors, gold trims, expensive like materials. It's more like very natural, very earthy materials, but it looks very calming and peaceful. And that's kind of the overall aesthetic to the build. I didn't want something too like brash and ostentatious, I guess. It's definitely a more of a secluded build, and it's quite private as well. Like, it's quite sectioned off. You'll notice that big concrete wall out the front, the retaining wall. That serves the purpose, obviously, to retain the terrain, but also it kind of just gives it more of a private, secluded feel, which I think is quite important in a house like this, because there's a few windows. The windows aren't actually too big. Like, there is a good amount of privacy, but it just created a nice, cozy, homely feel having that retaining wall. There's also a couple of fireplaces as well, because obviously Mount Komorebi, however, I'll never learn how to pronounce that, does get very cold. So I figured it was important that there was at least two or three fireplaces, and there's one for like the main bedroom, one for the main living room, and then one in the guest house as well. So it's really cozy as well during like the snowy months of the year. As you can see, what we're building on screen at the moment, this ended up being quite cool actually. So you'll see I built that bit of wall that kind of just sticks out for no reason, but it actually gets covered in like a rock face, and it looks like a real feature piece. And it ends up like, basically I had to put that wall in because I had to separate like the raised terrain in the lot from the lower terrain, and something had to be there, and that ended up being the best kind of compromise, was a big retaining stone effect wall. As you can see there, I'm also placing what look like wall pieces. They're actually from the By Debug menu, and they end up being really cool. And then what I did is I used shelves. As you can see, the shelves have been added. They kind of just create the feel that actually it is a proper split level home, rather than be trying to cover it up with like rocks and bushes and stuff. I was able to use that By Debug tool and the shelving just to create that kind of effect. We did have to edit that quite a few times just to get it to the right height, because I do add a small foundation to the whole entire lot. The reason for that is just to have the back area raised as a deck, because it's kind of like quite swampy lands towards the back of the lot. Not like unsightly swampy lands, but where it's like a lakeside. It's a bit overgrown, and I just didn't want the lot to be too close to the floor in that area, which is why there's kind of like why there's a decking out the back. I drew some inspiration on the lot that was actually here before, and it used like these kind of tiles that aren't connected to each other to create pathways, and I quite like that look, and I figured that I was going to use it in this lot as well, and it ended up being really effective. We also put I put like the fake grass in because I just wanted it to look a bit more lush, a bit more green, but I also wanted it to look like they had laid like a different turf, like it was like an astroturf, hence why it looks like it does. We're adding a pool at the moment. This pool though doesn't actually stay. I didn't think the pool really worked there because it was too modern for the house. Like, the house isn't an old house, but it was just too, like, the glass and the walls, and it looked nice, but it just didn't fit with the house. So we do have a pool, but the pool's going to be inside. And then what I put in that area is like the sunken bath kind of thing. And it actually worked out really well there, because you get quite a nice view from the corner of the lot into the lake to where like the beach is, where all the people are. So I figured it would be much nicer to have the bath. As you can see here, we're just adding that deck that I was mentioning earlier. The deck doesn't extend to the whole corner of the lot. I didn't want it to be like a perfect square lot. So I left a kind of like a chunk missing. There is steps that go down into it, but that's just how it is. And I'm just changing up the roof a bit. It took me a while to get that roof right, but initially like the roof was just way too big, and it was kind of overpowering the entire lot, and the scale just didn't quite work when you looked at it. Another thing which you'll notice, you won't really notice it on camera, or on screen anyway, but if you download this house, a lot of the wooden flooring I actually custom made in a certain layout. So rather than just pushing shift to fill the entire floor, I actually use Control and F, and basically what that does is it turns a square floor tile into a triangular tile, and that basically lets you rotate the direction of the floorboards. So you'll see, like, on the decking, when you get to a corner, instead of the floorboards going from, like, they follow the corner of the decking, of the lot, rather than them just being in straight lines. I thought that was a cool effect. It takes a bit longer, but it's just one of those little things which, if you do it, it does make a big difference to the overall, like, finish of the house. And I think it's really important that the finishing touches do look really nice. I did try and use platforms as well in this house. I didn't want to just put platforms in for the sake of it. Like, and that's the thing with platforms. You have to use them in an area that makes sense. So, yeah, you can use a platform for like a dining room or for a bedroom if you want to raise it, obviously for a stage, if you're building like a bar with music and stuff. But if you're just going to put random platforms inside, you kind of want them to be like in like areas where they're like cut out for, where there's nothing really there. So like you sometimes get like nooks and crannies in houses. If you change that to a platform, it can look quite effective. Whereas if you just put platforms randomly in a room, it's just never going to work. Did have to lower the roofing a little bit as well, because to fit the windows, like those smaller windows, it was definitely worth it. I prefer the lower roof with the kind of windows that fit perfectly, rather than having the windows like cropping through the roof. It just doesn't look very good. But anyway, we're going to the downstairs now. So most of the living is done on the downstairs ground floor. I guess it's kind of like a basement level. It's like a half basement because half the ground floor is built in the terrain. But the half that is actually just used as a swimming pool. Because it was quite a big room, but it was quite a dark room and I didn't know what else to do with it. So I was just like, I wouldn't really want to have a living room or kitchen down there. But swimming pool, that's cool. But then on the other side, which is much more open, you'll see the kitchen come together. So you'll see that I've put a platform in the middle of the room. That actually changes spot because it just, like, I couldn't get the layout to work with the platform there, like, because I wanted to use it's like the small table that you get in this pack, where it's, you basically sit on cushions on the floor, and then there's like a really big tablecloth over it, and it just didn't look very good in the middle of the room like that. So I ended up moving it to in front of like where the kitchen will be. You'll see it all in there when it comes together. That's just the main bedroom there, where I added that fireplace. Yeah, just adding some tiles as well into the bathrooms. I think there's 4 bathrooms on this lot. Well, I think there's technically 5, but 2 of them are right next to each other, and basically one of them is supposed to be for the bathhouse outside, and one of them is supposed to be for the swimming pool area. So I kind of just counted them as one bathroom because they're right next to each other. But here you go, here's the kitchen. Ends up being actually like a surprisingly nice kitchen, like a very functional kitchen. Aesthetically, like it's not the best looking kitchen, but I do end up having to replace it quite a few times just to get it central. But you'll see, I think the dining table just looks so much better in the middle of the room like that. And then I added these cool like corner cupboards because I realised there wasn't much storage in the kitchen. And me personally, like I like a lot of storage in my kitchens. And then we had the grand piano, not to everyone's taste in this kind of style of house, but there was a space in that corner for it. And I wanted the living room to kind of be offset just a little bit so that when you look through the archway, you're actually looking into the living space rather than just a big open blank area. There isn't actually much furniture in that living room because there's just not. There's also a really annoying glitch. I don't know if you can see it on the screen, but you know where the decking is? You can see it keeps disappearing and reappearing. I'm not sure why it does that. I think it only happens to me when I use the stilted foundations. And it was just being a real pain because it looked terrible. But then I tried to change it to like regular foundations, and then it was completely getting rid of, like, the flooring was there, but it just wasn't rendering in, and then it was just creating like this void into nothing. So I figured that putting up with that small glitch where it glitches out is probably better than having no floor in there ever. If that makes any sense. It's a complicated glitch to explain. I don't really understand it either, but that is what it is. We used a new shower as well that came with Snowy Escape, as it fitted quite well in the build, especially for like the pool area. and also it's kind of like a pool slash gym. Just put some gym equipment in it. And then there was a room at the back there, which I put the box in, the punch bag in. I didn't really know what else to do with that room. But I know, like, obviously in Japan, martial arts are like quite a big part of the culture, I think. I think it's Japan they are. And obviously, if I could have like a martial arts kind of room, that's what it would have been. But you don't have that in this. Like, in Strangerville, it comes with like a punching thing that I guess is closer to martial arts, but I don't really want to use Strangerville items for this build because I tried to keep it minimal on how many packs we used. But yeah, so it ends up being just like a boxing room. And then we just add in blinds and stuff. Some of the blinds do get deleted towards the end, as you can see. And I use the shelving to kind of make it look like one big blind. But yeah, that's how it works. But yeah, as you saw there, I was just trying to do like the toilet separated off, and it wasn't working for me. So in the end, we just go with like a regular bathroom. Ends up being quite a spacious bathroom, that one actually. And then this is the master bathroom, obviously with the his and hers sink, quite important. And then the bar shower combo. I always use that where I can now because it's pretty much the best for hygiene and also efficiency in terms of how quickly, because you can either have a shower or a bath. So if you're going to pick a bath to use, I would recommend use the bath shower combo, unless you've got the space in the bathroom for a bath and a separate shower. But there you go, you can see I'm doing more of that wood effect, and you can see it just looks a bit nicer as the floorboards sort of circle around to the centre of the room rather than just going straight across. And it fits nicely because of the rug on the floor. Yeah, just added a bit more in here and there. But yeah, all the bedrooms end up pretty much having the same furniture because I wasn't sure, like most people downloading this, I wasn't sure if they'd use it as like a rental, because although Mount Komobi is a nice town, because of the severe like weather, it's somewhere more that you're better off sending your Sims on a vacation rather than actually living there, in my opinion. So this is more of like a rental home, but obviously you can use it as a residential lot as well, depends on what you want to do. But it's kind of furnished as a rental, hence why the rooms have the same kind of interiors. The other thing as well, keeping the interiors the same means if you download the house, you can change it to fit the needs of your family rather than it just being like a random kids room and a random teenage girls room, teenage boys room, which your family might not need. So I figured let's just keep it nice and simple. Basically easy for you to move in, change a couple of bits that you need to change. But in general, it just functions as a nice house. And then yeah, just add in the top floor room. I think this house sleeps, what is it, 2, 4... This house sleeps out to 10 Sims, I think, which is quite a fair amount considering you can only have 8 in a family. But if you've got guests over for the night, then you got extra space for them there. But yeah, that's it for me really from this build. If you carried on watching till now, thank you very much. Please comment below what your opinions are of the build. And also if you've got any recommendations for future projects, just comment them below, because I'm always interested in trying to build, especially like to specific requirements. So please give me a shout if you want anything built for you. The download for this house will be in the description below. Please like and comment though if you have enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you want more content like this. I try and do build videos fairly often. But anyway, thank you for watching.